Once upon a time, in a forest, there lived a squirrel who was known for his greediness. He would hoard nuts and acorns, not for his winter storage, but just for himself. Whenever he saw an acorn on the ground, he would pick it up and add it to his collection. One day, a wise old owl noticed the squirrel's behavior and asked him, "Why do you collect so many acorns? You can't possibly eat them all." The squirrel, startled by the sudden voice, quickly hid the acorns he had collected and replied, I was just gathering these acorns for myself. I love eating them so much." The owl, with a knowing look, said, "You know, there is an even better place where you can find plenty of acorns. If you go straight ahead from here, beyond the oak tree, you will find a huge pile of acorns. Go get them." The squirrel's eyes widened at the thought of so many acorns waiting for him. He thanked the owl and dashed off toward the oak tree, eager to discover the hidden stash. When he reached the oak tree and looked around, he found a small hole in its trunk. With bushy tail twitching with excitement, he squeezed through the hole and found himself in a hollow space behind the oak tree. But instead of finding a pile of acorns, he saw a fierce badger glaring at him. "Who are you and what are you doing in my den?"
the badger asked in a gruff voice. The squirrel, frightened by the badger's appearance, stammered, I was just looking for some acorns."
"An owl told me that there were some here."
The badger narrowed his eyes and said, "So you came into my house without asking. Do you have any manners?"
"Get out of here before I do something you wouldn't like." The squirrel,
realizing his mistake, apologized to the badger and promised to never enter his den again. He turned to leave, but then he had an idea.
He stopped and said to the badger, "You know what? I have an even bigger pile of acorns in my house. Would you like to come and see them?"
The badger, intrigued by the offer, agreed to take a peek at the squirrel's stash.
The squirrel led the badger through the hole in the oak tree and into the forest. He kept going until they reached his burrow. With a flourish, he pushed open the entrance and said, "Welcome to my humble abode."
The badger cautiously entered the burrow and saw the largest pile of acorns he had ever seen.
His eyes gleamed with delight as he began digging in. Meanwhile, the squirrel, with a mischievous grin, quietly slipped out of the burrow and raced up the oak tree. From his vantage point in the tree, he watched as the badger dug through his acorn stash. After the badger had taken a good amount of acorns, the squirrel called out, "Hey, badger! Don't forget to leave some for me." The badger, startled by the squirrel's sudden appearance, dropped the acorns he was carrying and asked, "What do you mean?" "These are mine." The squirrel said, "These acorns are meant to be shared with friends." "It's not nice to take all of them for yourself, is it?"
The badger, feeling ashamed for his greediness, apologized to the squirrel and offered to share the acorns with him.
Together, they enjoyed the fruits of the squirrel's labor, and the badger even left some extra acorns for the winter. As the days passed, the squirrel continued to gather acorns, but this time he shared them with other animals in the forest. He even offered acorns to the owl, who had shown him the way to the badger's den.
The owl, impressed by the squirrel's change of heart, said, "You have learned a valuable lesson about sharing. But remember..."
True wisdom comes from understanding that hoarding things won't bring you happiness. The squirrel nodded, realizing the wisdom in the owl's words. He understood that while collecting things may seem tempting, it is in giving and sharing that one truly finds joy. From that day on, the greedy squirrel became known throughout the forest as the generous squirrel, always ready to share his acorns with anyone in need. And though he still loved collecting acorns, he knew that the real treasure was the friendships he made along the way. The end.